This is a video lesson for solving logarithms day 2. We're going to do more advanced problems than we did yesterday, especially using the properties. First example, we have log base 3 of x squared minus log base 3 of 4 equals 2. When you have more than one logarithm, you must use the properties first to simplify them. So if I take this equation, property says that log of m minus log of n. If two logs are being subtracted, I can combine them into one logarithm where the elements are being divided. So I'm going to combine these two together. Log base 3 of, take the two elements, x squared and 4, and divide them. So log base 3 of x squared over 4 equals 2. Now I'm going to exponentiate, as we learned yesterday, do exponential base 3 of both sides. That cancels out log base 3. And when I cancel out log base 3, I'm left with just x squared over 4. On this side, when I exponentiate 2, 3 to the second power is 9. So what I have then is x squared equals 36 when I multiply 4 over, which, just take the square root of both sides, x equals plus or minus 6. And we need to check both of those, and when you check them, they do work. And again, you can check those simply by graphing them on the graph app. So put this whole thing in as y1, put 2 in as y2, and then do gsolve, F5, and then intersect, or F5 again, and check to see that they intersect at both 6 and negative 6. Second example. I have log of 5x plus log of x minus 1 equals 2. Okay, so the property says that if you are adding two logs, you multiply their elements. So I'm going to put this together into one logarithm, log of 5x times x minus 1, where I put the two elements together through multiplication, equals 2. Now, there's no base, so that's 10. So we're going to do exponentiate in base 10. Base 10 of both sides. That cancels out the log base 10, and I'm left with that. 10 squared, when I exponentiate 2, gives me 100. I have to distribute here. So we're going to distribute 5x squared minus 5x. Now I have a quadratic, so I have to solve this quadratic by setting it equal to 0. So I'm going to minus the 100 over. I see all of these are divisible by 5, so I'm going to divide everything by 5. Now I have something that's easily factored. Factors of 20 that give me 1 are x minus 5 and x plus 4. So when I apply the zero product property, I get x equals 5 and x equals negative 4. We're going to check this on the prism, just like we did before, or I can also check just by looking to see what it would give me. Now 5 will work when I plug it in, but I know a log cannot take the logarithm of a negative. So if I plug negative 4 in to that first logarithm, I get log of 5 times negative 4, log of negative 20. No, you cannot take the log of a negative. So negative 4 is extraneous. 5 works. Next one is example 3. Do something similar. So I'm going to take the natural log of x plus the natural log of x plus 2 equals 3. Again, these are being added, so I'm going to multiply their elements and condense it into one logarithm. Now I'm going to exponentiate. Well, natural log is base e, so we're going to exponentiate with base e on both sides. E and ln cancel, leaves me with x times x plus 2. Exponentiate over here, I get e to the third. Again, we're going to distribute x squared plus 2x. E to the third is about 20.1. It is a quadratic, so I need to set it equal to 0 to solve. So I'm going to minus 20.1 over, so that it's equal to 0. Now, I can't solve that with factoring. I'm going to solve it using, and I'm going to give you 3 options here. You can use quadratic formula. You can use the equation app on the prism, option 2, polynomial. Or there is several good equation solvers online. One of them is maths, plural, isfun.com, has a quadratic equation solver. If you just Google that, it'll bring it to you. And when you solve, you would get negative 5.6 and 3.6. But again, negative 5.6, if I plug that in for x, I'm taking the log of a negative. So this is extraneous. This one works. Last example, just trying to give you enough of an idea. If at this point you already know what you're doing and you want to continue on to the homework, that's fine. But just for one more example, I have two log base 4s. They're being added. So I'm going to take their two elements and multiply them together. Equals 2. Now I'm going to exponentiate. So I'm going to do base 4 on both sides. That's going to cancel out the log over here. I'm going to exponentiate in base 4 over here. I get 4 to the second power. I need to distribute all this. So that's going to be, don't forget your middle term, x squared, 1x minus 2x gives me negative 1x in the middle when I combine like terms. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, equals 4 squared, or 16. I'm going to solve this, again, quadratic. I got to set it equal to 0, so I'm going to minus 16 over, gives me negative 18, equals 0. And this is not factorable, so again, I'll use quadratic formula or the Prism or an equation solver online to get the two answers, 4.8 and negative 3.8. Again, negative 3.8 minus 2 is going to be a negative of a logarithm. Cannot take the logarithm of a negative, so this is going to be extraneous, and this is the only solution.